Welcome back, everyone. So in this video, I will start from question 41 and I will end at question 50. It means I will end this SPSC subject specialist exam of 2024. So I'm not doing English questions first because then you will realize, okay, I'm only doing English. So I'm starting from MCQ 43 for now. And it says that a square matrix A is called orthogonal if which property of this is true. So I have changed like MCQ option D here because it was not correct in the exam, but I'm going to tell you, okay, what is the property? So if you take A and multiply with its transpose, you get identity matrix. This is what we call orthogonal matrices. So if you multiply A inverse from the left on both sides, so you'll get like A transpose equals A inverse. So this is the property we should be satisfied for the matrix to be orthogonal. So the correct option is D, and all the other options are not correct. So MCQ number 44 is a bit tricky because here we have to evaluate what is going to be the exact value of this sum. So first of all, what am I doing? I'm going to evaluate this sum. So this sum can be written as, like if we have n divided by n square plus something, I'm writing that value to be k. So let's say that value is 0 here, then 1 here, then 2 here, then all the way up to n minus 1. So k runs from 0 to n minus 1. Now I think I want to simplify this a little bit, and then I will apply the limit as well. So what am I doing? I'm dividing everything by n square. If I'm doing so, then this numerator will be 1 over n. I'm taking it out. K equals 0 to n, and 1 divided by 1 plus k over n square. Now you can look at this term. So what am I doing is I'm switching the sum and the limit. If I'm taking this limit and applying here, then the limit of this term as n goes to infinity, this k over n square would go to 0. So then this whole term would be 1. So this is 1 over n, k equals 0 to n minus 1, and this whole sum is going to be 1. Now if you are going to add these all the terms, so if you are adding this 1 from 0 to 10, n minus 1, you are adding 1s, you will get n. So the final answer is going to be 1, which is not any of the options here. So there might be a typo in this problem, and actually this problem can be like 1 square here, 2 square here, and n minus 1 square. So it means you're going to solve this problem. K equals 0 to n minus 1, n divided by n square plus k square. Now you can solve this problem by using Riemann sums because you can do the same thing n square and n square. So this could be 1 over n, k equals 0 to n minus 1, 1 over 1 plus k over n whole square. Now if you say that, okay, k over n is x, and then you apply some calculus, some maybe simplification tricks, and then you can exactly convert this sum, because this is going to be a Riemann sum only. This is going to be the delta t, the length of the interval or the increment that we multiply each time with the value of the function. So this will be 0 to 1, 1 over 1 plus x square dx. So this will be the value of this integral as n goes to infinity. And if you evaluate this one, you will exactly get pi by 4. So since this question is like, there's a typo in this question, that's why we're not going to look at this. Otherwise, our answer is going to be this one, which is 1, which is none of these options if we take this problem. Now, if you want to look at this problem in another way, then maybe I can show you something. So I can stop share this screen, and I might share my desktop. So one thing is you can see here. So what am I doing is you can see like I've defined this function, and now I'm writing this, not k square, but only k. And you can see that, okay, I'm evaluating this particular function, the function that we have, like the sum from k equals 0 to n minus 1. And I'm evaluating for different values, and you can see I evaluated when n is 51, and then all the way up to 951, my answer is going to approach 0.99, which is going to be 1. So if limit n goes to infinity, this value is going to be consistent and it's going to converge 1. So this is one idea. Another idea is like you can go for decimals, and you can write this function like this, n over n squared plus k, and k equals 0 to n minus 1. Now what happens is n goes to infinity. So I've written this f of c, and I can take very large values of c. You can see like the value of this one is going to approach 1. And like graphically, you can see as well, like maybe for time being, the values are not okay, but this is the graph of the constant function 1. And if you go ahead in time, you can see that this particular function converges um, for all its values, it's going to converge 1. So these are two different other notions that I showed you. Okay, let's go back, and let me share my screen again. Okay, so I think you got the idea of this problem. The next one is like we are given that x is equal to r cosine theta, y is equal to r sine theta, then evaluate this particular quantity. And what is this? This is what we call Jacobian, and it is equal to the determinant of the matrix partial x by partial r, partial x by partial theta, partial y by partial r, partial y by partial theta. So you just evaluate these quantities and put here, evaluate the determinant, and you're done. What is the derivative of x with respect to r? So this is going to be x. If you differentiate with respect to r, you will treat cosine theta as constant. So the derivative is cosine theta only. And x with respect to sine theta is r sine theta. And then y with respect to r is sine theta. And y with respect to, I think this is going to be minus, yeah. And this is r cosine theta. And for determinant, you multiply these and put a negative sign here. So r cosine square theta plus r sine square theta. And if you take r common, then you have sine square theta plus cosine square theta, which is 1. So we are finally getting r. So this is the Jacobian. So this is also the Jacobian of the transformation from Cartesian coordinates to polar coordinates. It's always equal to r. So we have this equation, like if you have u, which can be temperature or something else, and its second derivative with respect to the space dimension x, y, z, whatever it is, and the right hand side is some force, then it's going to be a Poisson equation. And if this force is 0, then it's going to be a Laplace equation. And Laplace equation and Poisson equations both are elliptic equations. So hyperbolic and parabolic are not correct options as well, and Laplace is not correct as well since the right hand side is not 0. So the correct option is Poisson equation. So then this problem is, I think from your intermediate book, you have to evaluate some sort of angle. First of all, you have to compare this one with ax square plus 2hxy plus by squared plus cxy. I don't know exactly. I think it's cx. Is it cx? Whatever it is, I don't know exactly, but maybe 2gx, 2fy plus c equals 0. This is a standard form when you compare. So when you compare, you'll get the value of a equals 3. And when you compare 2h is equal to 7, then you get h is equal to 7 by 2 and b is equal to 2. So we want only these values, and we can find angle by using this formula. Tan theta is equal to absolute value 2 square root of h square minus ab divided by a plus b. So we only need the value of a, value of b, and value of h. So tan theta is equal to 2 square root of h square, which is 14 divided by 4. And is it 14? No, sorry. 49 divided by 4 minus a times b is 6 divided by a plus b is 5. Absolute value. So tan theta is equal to, so this is going to be 25 divided by 4. So it's like 5 divided by 2 divided by 5. So 5 divided by 5, 1. So tan theta is equal to 1. Obviously, theta is going to be 45 degrees. So the correct option is B. So you have some comparison, find the corresponding coefficients, apply the formula, and you're good to go. MCQ number 48 is, we are given a matrix where R is its rank and D is the determinant, and we have to evaluate this quantity. So what am I doing? I'm going to reduce this to some echelon form or something like that. So 1, 2, 3 is same. What am I doing? I'm just doing this thing. R2 minus R1. So 4 minus 1. So I'm doing R2 minus R1. So 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. And then I'm doing maybe R3 minus. I can do R2. Doesn't matter. Maybe you can do R1. So 7 minus 4 is 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. 9 minus 6 is 3. And you can see these both are equal. So I can divide by 3. So if I divide like R2 and R3 by 3, then maybe these all the things would be 1, 1, 1. And then what I can do is, and you know very well, if two rows or columns in a matrix are equal, the determinant is always 0. So the determinant is 0. We don't need to worry about that anymore. And now what am I doing? I'm doing this R2 minus R1 and R3 minus R1. So 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 2 is minus 2, 1 minus 3 is, this is minus 1, minus 2. And then if I'm doing the thing again, it's going to be 0, minus 1, minus 2. And if I'm going to apply like this, doing something here, subtracting R3 minus, like I'm doing now R3 minus R2, then this is 0, 0, 0. And you can see there are two non-zero rows, there are two pivots. So you have to see how many pivots are there. That's going to be the rank. I think so. So the rank is 2. So rank minus determinant is 2 minus 0, which is equal to 2. So the correct option is D. So this was MCQ 48. Now 49 is okay if we have a function lies in this interval and there's a real root of this function. what is the value of f of a times f of b? So we'll apply intermediate value theorem. It says that, okay, if you have a function, maybe something like this, and there's a point A and there's a point B, and there's a real root of this function. This is real root. Real root means a value where the f of x star, so x star is like certain value where the function vanishes or the value of the function is 0. So obviously what would be the case if this function is continuous? Maybe, but it's not given, but we can assume. Continuity is important. Yeah. So f of a, you can see, is negative and f of b is positive. So if you take their product, this is always going to be less than 0. Or maybe this graph can go like this. In this way, f of a is positive, but f of b is negative. In either of the cases, it's going to be, it's going to be less than 0. So the product is always going to be less than 0. And this comes from intermediate value theorem. And we apply this property while we solve like equations numerically by using bisection method or maybe a couple of other methods. Maybe the last question is, what is going to be the solution of this differential equation? So you can see this is like separable. So you have cot y dy is equal to dx divided by x. So you can separate the variables. You can see this is only y, this is x, because I have taken x here. And cot y is equal to cosine y divided by sine y. Dy is equal to dx divided by x. Now I can integrate both sides, and you know very well integrate. So the derivative of sine y is cosine y. So if the derivative is present in the numerator, the answer is always log of sine y is equal to log of x. So I need to introduce a constant. So I'm going to introduce the constant log c. Because I want to cancel these logs. So log sine y is equal to log cx by applying the property. Like if you want to ignore the logs, then sine y is equal to cx. So it's option C. So this was the last MCQ. I'm going back to solve English MCQs. I think MCQ number 41 and 42. So what 41 says, simply change the y's. So a lion does not eat grass, however hungry he may be. So however hungry he may be is same in all of these sentences. So we have to focus only on the first part of the sentence. So you know very well, like this grass becomes subject and the object becomes lion, and obviously you have to write by a lion, and you have to write the third form of eaten. But the only thing is, what should I put here as, like, what do you say, helping verb? So since does not is helping verb for the present indefinite, then in the passive voice, the helping verbs can be was and were. So, sorry, is, am, are, because that's present, not the past. But it's grass, so it should be is. Grass is eaten by a lion. But since the sentence is negative because a lion does not, so the sentence should be the grass is not eaten by a lion. The grass is not eaten by a lion. So the correct option is option D. So these are certain rules that you should remember when you are changing from active voice to passive voice. So at the time of its establishment, Pakistan became the Desh of Muslim states. So basically, we are going to compare Pakistan with all other Muslim states. So we have to look at what correct form of adjective we should use. So great is, what do we call it? Positive. Greater is comparative. Greatest is superlative. Greatly is not a correct option. So we are comparing Pakistan with all other Muslim states. So it should be greatest. So we're going to use superlative. Because if you are saying Pakistan became, then we don't have the here, because it is the, then you should put greater. So okay. Okay, so this was the end of this SPSC subject specialist, our lecture. Uh, I don't remember exactly. Exam of 2024. So see you with a new series.